is blooming. I love it. Happy Saturday. So you can tell by the title that something has gone awry in the plans. And the thing that messed the whole thing up was the thrips. So what am I talking about? I am talking about downsizing my collection, and that there was a monkey wrench in the plans. So how I was planning on downsizing my collection has been foiled. So we had to come up with a pivot. We had to plan B, which seems to be the story of my life these days, is the hard pivot. So let's get into it. Let's talk about downsizing your collection, some of the reasons why you might have to downsize your collection, and the way that I plan to downsize my collection. So, which is why I'm bringing this cutie pie on, because I'm not really sure which plants are going to make the cut. And this one is growing so much. All of this is new growth. She is growing so much. Oh. Y'all gonna have to help me. I'm gonna need serious plant therapy going forward. So let's get into it. Okay, so you can probably see behind me things. I don't think they look that much difference, not from this vantage point, but things are starting to change a little bit in this room, and it's starting to kind of get me in my feelings a lot. But we're going to stay focused today, and we are going to talk about my plants and downsizing my collection. So first off, I want to talk about, for those of you that may not be familiar with the term, or just I might be using it maybe slightly different than some people do. When I think of downsizing my collection, when you reduce it and change the size of your plant collection, that is what I consider to be a downsize of your plant collection, which seems pretty obvious, but just so that we're clear, I'm still a plant mom. I still love plants, but based on the plans that I have for the near future of my life, I really do need to get my plant collection down to something reasonable for even someone who doesn't take care of plants normally. So if you notice, you'll notice that my plant is polka dot. This is a sulfur treatment. Because like I mentioned at the top of the video, I have thrips. And so I'm treating all of my plants as if they all are infected with thrips. Even though I have not seen thrips on all of my plants, I'm treating them all, because the way this treatment works is the polka dotty stuff is sulfur, and it's like this crystallized sort of application, where if the pests come in contact with it, it will kill the pest. So even though I haven't seen any thrips on this plant, if the thrip happens to jump off of a plant that I did see that was infected and jump onto this one or any other one in my collection, one or two of the leaves, it's going to pick up some of that stuff, and hopefully it will die before it plants or lays any more babies. Now this is one that was given to me. This is a Hoya sigillatus round leaf. I had to think about it for a second. She was given to me by a beautiful person from this plant community. And so keeping her alive is important to me. Plus she's growing so well. She's got even more leaves since the last time I showed you. This is a new one. These two are fairly new, if they're not brand new. And these are the ones that were little the last time I showed you. Now they're big, and that was a little one that is now hardened off. These haven't hardened off yet. They're still in that sort of olivey green, bronzy phase. Okay, so long story long, because I'm all over the place. The polka dotted stuff is the sulfur. And what I've been doing here lately is every time I pick up a plant, I spend a little bit of time looking at the plant to see if I see anything, moving and shaking, especially those that have new growth on them. And as the new growth comes in, I sort of spray them. Okay, so let's get back to the topic. Downsize. We've already said that downsizing is when you change the size of your plant collection. So I talked about the what, and the win. The win is now. I really want to do it before the holidays come. So yeah, I'm looking at a time frame of about maybe 4 weeks, 6 weeks, probably less. That's the plan. The way things are going, it might possibly be less, but let's shoot for around somewhere around a month from now. It's about the mid-September. Actually, it's the third week in September. So I'm thinking before the November gets in really, really good, I want the downsizing, the whole process of downsizing my collection to be where I want it to be. If you like this content, don't forget to hit that like button. And because you like this content, you would absolutely love our community. Hit that subscribe button, and for a deeper connection, just sign up for my newsletter. Link is in the description. All right, let's get back into it. It's amazing to me. I think the Thrips are plant lovers just like we are, because they pick the most amazing plants to want to eat on. Now, I actually saw a Thrip on her not too long ago. So I kind of got the heebie-jeebies holding her, but I did spray her down the other day. I went and gave her a really good shower and sprayed her down with bug spray, and then followed up with the sulfur treatment. Now, you don't see too many spots on her, but her leaves are she look a little ashy, like she needs some lotion. But some plant lotion. But we'll set her here for a little bit, so that way I can kind of, look to see if any of these little spots on her are moving. While we talk about how I plan to reduce my plant collection. So let me tell you the story behind the how. So I had this beautiful idea a couple of months ago. I mentioned to you guys before that I want to move abroad. This is a step in my move abroad plans that is going to free me up in such a way that when I get something else, when I get the next part in order, then I won't have to worry about this last part. Okay, so let's talk about how my plans got foiled. I wanted to do a full-on plant adoption. I was so excited about the idea. I mean, literally, I was like giddy inside, like thinking about, yes, it was a really sad thought to think that I have to get rid of my plants. Like, that's been one of the things that's sort of been hindering me from taking some other moves towards my move abroad plan. Was giving up my plants. And I'm like, well, if I gotta stay here in America, then I would rather do it with my plants around me, right? And so I decided I wanted to do a plant adoption. What I was going to do was do a whole series on it. I was gonna come on, give you a display of all the plants that I wanted to give away, and see if we could set something up so that you guys can pick them up or mail them or whatever. We were just going to come up with the plan on how to execute it. But the idea was to have a plant adoption. And that way I can share my plans with some of you guys, and you guys would then have a piece of me in your home. Like, I kind of get a little choked up just thinking about it, because I just thought it was such a sweet idea. And then I looked and found out I had thrips, and I'm like, ugh. So in the whole works of this, because life be life and in between stuff. And so I had a situation where I had to go out of town. I had to do some things out of town, and it got the ball rolling for another part of my plan, for my move abroad plan, and it just escalated everything. So I will be moving sooner than I originally planned, but it still falls within the same time frame. But because I have thrips in my collection, I do not feel comfortable adopting out my plants when I know they have thrips. Like, something about that I wouldn't want, even though I would love a plant from some of my plant friends online, I don't want to plant that could possibly have thrips. I don't want to deal with that, especially those who already have a healthy collection, and then you happen to get one of my plants and my plants make your other plants sick. I don't want that. So this is the new plan. The new plan is I am going to reduce my collection down. Yeah, I won't promise that I won't purchase any new plants, but I will make my purchases really smart. If you noticed, I have not made any plant purchases for the full year of 2024. If you go back and look at any haul that I've done was in 2023. And so I have not purchased any new plants at all this year. That tells you how serious I am about this move. So I have received plants as community mail. I have propagated plants, but I have not purchased any new plants. So the new how. Let's talk about the new how. One, I plan to go through my collection, and any plant that is not bringing me full joy, especially now that I have thrips. I'm gonna tell you, having the thrips has really flashed a light on what I'm really enjoying. If you have not gone through a pest, I don't want to call it an infestation because I don't know if it's that serious. But if you've ever gone through a phase where you've had pests and it sort of kind of knocked some of the thrill of plant parenting down a bit, you know what it feels like to not be excited about your plant collection or to feel some kind of way about it. And so I've experienced a little bit of that because, and I think what is helping not to take it full 100% like, oh, I don't feel like being bothered, is because my plants don't look sick. To be fair, like look at her. She doesn't. You see, I'm real selective on how I want to hold her. She doesn't look sick at all. In fact, this is the most growth that she's had this year. Like she looks amazing. You starting to see a little sparseness at the top, and that's because she's starting to trail, and so a lot of her leaf action is falling over. But for the most part, she looks really, really good. Really good. It's really hard for me to be like, yeah, I want to give that plant up. Yeah. That's fine. When I was thinking I was going to give it to one of you guys, it softened the blow a lot. But now thinking about throwing the plant away or getting rid of the plant because the plant has thrips versus that doesn't feel good. So anyway, what I want to do, I feel like I'm rambling, so excuse me. But what I want to do is, the first thing I want to do is I want to go through my collection and really pick out those plants that are not lighting me up. There aren't that many, not enough to make a substantial dent in my collection. I can think of one or two off the top of my head that, not bringing me 100% joy. And even though I would love to maybe have that plant again, that pot might not be bringing me joy. So I would be okay with getting rid of those. But that's probably not enough to move the needle. So the first thing I want to do is I want to get rid of the ones that don't bring me joy. The second thing I want to do is I want to play a little mind trick with myself, or a mind game, and see if I can pick out the top 25 plants that I feel like I just can't do without. Now, let me tell you, some plants are not even in the mix. They are going regardless, right? My peace lily up here, she's going. Most likely my aglaonema is going. And it's so hard to say this. Every other plant has the option of going. It's really not true, but let's say it is. Because I'm going to take more plants than just those 3 plants, right? So the plan is to pick the top 25 plants, and then from those plants, I'm going to say 25 plants. 25, yeah. Take those top 25 plants, and then I'm going to combine some plants together in bigger pots so that they will be a lot easier to care for. My goal is to get my collection down to floor size plants and ones that will fit on my wooden shelf. I'm not going to, oh, it's killing me. I'm not going to take this shelving unit here to hold plants for. So I'm not going to be utilizing this as a plant shelf anymore. It's just going to be my 2 plant shelves over here. And let's see if you can. It's just going to be those plant shelves there. And so once I get those, I'm gonna pull everything off, and then I'm going to choose the plants that I'm going to keep, and then I'm gonna try to get them down to a smaller collection. Now, the one thing I will say about that plant shelf is that this setup here, like this one here, is a little too tall to fit on that plant shelf with the lighting that I have. The top of the plant sort of, you're too tall. You're too tall, girl. That the top of this plant sort of hits the light or gets a little too close to the light. So I found that smaller plants, like in a 5-inch pot, usually fit better over on that shelf, and the taller ones fit better on this. But we're gonna have to make some adjustments because, you know, I'm adjusting. Okay, and then the plants that are left, most likely, I'm struggling. I'm struggling with that. Now, maybe it might be a good idea to take some suggestions as to what I could do, keeping in mind that my plants have been exposed to thrips. So, and it has not been that long. Matter of fact, I saw a thrip on this plant last week. I was packing up something in here and I made a mistake of chopping off one of the leaves, and I picked the leaf up and turned it around and it had a thrip on it. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. And it was a new leaf. So yeah, the thrips are still doing them. I do not feel comfortable spreading thrips onto somebody else in their collection. It's a possibility that I can still do the adoption. I just won't be able to do it before I leave from here. It would have to be in my next location, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. So I'm still a little open. I thought I was really solid right before I started this video, but it's like the minute I went to say it out loud, I was like, girl, you can't do that. You just can't throw your plants away. Like, it would be really difficult for me to take this plant and throw it in the trash. In fact, what I'm finding is that as I am downsizing my life as well, I'm not just downsizing my plant collection, I'm downsizing my life, simplifying my life. I'm finding that it's a little more difficult than I thought it was going to be. Now, I have in my mind the categories of things that I want to keep, but I think it's the going through the memories that is, you know, got me a little choked up. In fact, let me show you something. Can you read that? Hopefully you can read that. If not, I will put a picture of it up. It says, she believed she could, so she did. I love that. It's actually a plaque where you can hang your medals up. I'm out of breath. Why? I was talking to a friend of mine. Hey, Sandra. And I was mentioning to her that I used to be a runner. And I have medals that from when I used to run. And so I was going through my closet. Here's my pen, my 26.2. And here is my Shamrock. And this is March of 2008. I did a full marathon. And I was going through my closet of things that I was holding on to. Even though this is not something that I plan to, that, you know, would be useful to move abroad with. And, you know, when you're moving from house to house, from city, even to state, you do downsize, but you take a lot of the things with you. But when you're moving abroad, it's different because You're not putting all this stuff on a plane. You're not shipping this stuff over. It's way too expensive for that. So I have done plenty of races, and I have plenty of 10K races that I've done. I've also done, let's see, which one is this one? This is the Get Lit Challenge. Which one is this? Blue Moon? Oh, this was a 5K? Is this the, I can't remember whether this was the 5K or whether that was the half marathon. So I've done plenty of races that, you know, it's nice to look at these memories. And the thought of getting rid of this stuff is really, it's really kind of stirring up some feelings in me. So I gotta put my big girl panties on and figure out how to downsize my life in a way that honors me and doesn't make me crazy. Because if I was getting on a plane and leaving to go move abroad tomorrow, I would have the euphoria of that to sort of mitigate some of the loss of this, but I'm not doing that. So it's going to feel like I got rid of all my stuff to still be stuck here, and it's like, ugh, that doesn't feel good. So yeah, I'm working on it. I'm not sure. Oh, this is another one. See how easily distracted I get? This is the one I really wanted to show you guys. This was my very first half marathon. This is the, oh, she dirty. The Divas Half Marathon series. Look, her little thing spins. Oh my goodness. I thought this was so cool. I had like shoe jewelry and a boa and a if I got pictures, I will put the pictures in so that you can see them. But I had such a good time in that phase of my life where, you know, I was pushing myself beyond my comfort zone and pushing myself past my comfort zone and doing something that I hadn't done before. And it just made me realize just how strong I really was. And so, you know, maybe this whole thing, maybe this is the same thing. It's bittersweet to have to let go of some of those memories, but the adventure of the new thing is a beautiful thing. It's good to have this physical memorabilia to help foster that remembrance. Sometimes it helps even bring it up because you have pushed away the thought so far back that you forget just how excited. Just seeing this reminded me of how excited I was on those on those race days, and the whole just stepping outside my comfort zone and doing things that I wasn't used to doing, or that, you know, that was just different. So let's get back on track because we are way off the beaten path. So you guys know the rules. I do not have to stick to a script because why not? So I am downsizing my collection. The plan is to go through and get rid of all of the plants that don't bring me joy. Pick the top 25, 30 plants that I want to keep, and then I want to combine as many of them, not combine as many into one pot, but I want to combine the right plants together to make bigger pots. Like, you know, I want to take my Hawaiian. This is my mother plants. See, she cutting up already. I haven't seen any thrips on her, but I'm pretty sure they've been near her because I've seen plants that have had thrips. I saw some on a Hawaiian, but it wasn't on this pot. So I plan to take all of the Hawaiian and put it all together, and she's gonna be in a big pot just like this jade back here, and I kind of feel like I'm gonna keep it. I kind of feel like she's probably gonna make the top 25. So that's definitely a video that will be coming up very soon. Is that we will be deciding which plants are going to be on the top 25, 30 plant list of plants that I will then take and combine together so that I can get a smaller footprint of plants. In my mind, I am not counting the floor plants in the part of the 25, but I don't have right now that many floor plants. I can think of 3 floor plants right now that I have. The rest of them, even the ones outside of this room, are not floor plants that are so high on my list that they don't have to be a part of the ones that I could get rid of. So that's the plan going forward, is that I want to get my collection down to a smaller footprint, a more manageable footprint. I'm not going to rule out doing a plant adoption in the future, because when it comes time for me to leave the country, I don't want to have to worry about my plants, because I don't plan for my trips to be short. So don't rule out a plant adoption. I'm just so bummed out that I couldn't do it right now. I want to talk about my next video. I am gonna probably go live because my next video is going to be my birthday video. So Monday, September the 30th, I am going to go live at 11:30, and we are going to talk about some updates. I want to update you guys on the irrigation system that I have. I want to update you guys on the Naked Roots planter. I want to update you on some of the propagations that I have, because propagations and moving that's a different thing. So I want to talk about that. I want to talk about what's going on with that. And we're going to do it live because I think that's the perfect conversation for my live for my birthday. Okay, so for those of you that are considering downsizing your collection for any reason, the reason doesn't matter, and don't hold yourself feeling any kind of way because you have to downsize your collection. Plants are resilient, right? They will survive. The plant kingdom is not going to die because you got rid of one plant. In fact, you throwing it in the trash does not actually mean that you're killing the plant. They live outside. They thrive outside. So don't feel like you're throwing a plant away is going to, destroy all the POTHOS in the whole wide world. It's not going to happen. So for those of you that are thinking of downsizing your collection for any reason, don't hold on to that guilt or shame. At the end of the day, you can always start again. Plants are forgiven, and so is the plant community. We are forgiven as well. So do it. Get rid of the plants that don't bring you joy, and maybe consider up-potting some plants, putting like plants together so that you have a bigger pot. It reduces the amount of work that you have to do to maintain that plant. It's nice and full and lush and big and pretty. And an 8-inch plant needs watering a lot less than a 4-inch plant, right? And if you think about getting some planters that allow you to know when to put the water in and there's no guessing, then you can have, it is something flying around here, then you can have someone else who is not maybe as plant savvy watch your plants if you need to be a step away, be out of the country, all the things. So if no one else has said it to you today, have a great day. Bye. Let's see, did I forget anything? Because I write notes, so don't judge me. Okay, you can, I won't know.